Now on CS Enterprises, and with apologies for the lengthy delay in bringing you this episode due to overwhelming tiredness by the owner and creator of this channel who had been working voluntarily this week, it's Breaking the News, hosted for one show only by this guy.
It's Breaking the News with Chris Forbes.
I'm Chris Forbes, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. Once again, we're joined by some of the finest comedians on the stand-up circuit. On my right, we have Joe Caulfield and Stephen Buchanan, and up against them are Ignacio Lopez and Amy Matthews. In the news this week, London has lost its position as the top stock market in Europe. Currency traders blame the collapse of sterling. I mean, sure, the town centre's seen better days, but you can hardly pin it all on us. Snow Factor in Renfrewshire, which boasted the longest indoor real snow slope in the UK, has closed. The company have been forced to bring in a liquidator, which should be an easy enough task. All they've got to do is pop on the radiators. And Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said he doesn't recognise bullying claims made about Dominic Raab. At least we think that's what he said. He was in a headlock at the time. You've met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News Round, where our two teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. Joe and Stephen, can you tell me what the first story in the mashup is?
Hamza Yusuf told MSPs
he plans to run for the US presidency in 2024.
The Health Secretary has insisted
That he was launching a bid for the White House because the world had not yet seen the true glory of
the NHS.
He could face a bruising nomination battle with other potential challengers, including
Westerheel's GP
Ron DeSantis.
Stephen Buchanan, could you pick out one of the stories there?
Donald Trump is running for re-election.
Correct. Trump has announced he will run for president again in 2024. During his time in office, Trump became the first president ever to be impeached twice before deciding he needed to take his spray tan up a shade to tangerine. What do you make of Donald Trump's decision to run for president again, Joe Caulfield?
I think, it'll be terrible for America, but it's also terrible for comedy because we just hear the same thing, the same Trump stuff over and over again. And then even when he came out and his awful way of delivering stuff, and then when you look, honest to God, you look at the hall of people in front of him, and I thought, it's a plastic surgery convention. This must be what it is. I mean, every single face looking at him can't move at all. All the women's breasts are right up under their chin, It's just, please let it stop.
I kind of feel sorry for him as well. Like, I've been in a similar position myself. Yes.
How so?
Thanks for asking. When in primary school, I was the class representative for the year, and then they sacked me. And I was gutted. I went for it like 3 or 4 different times, and the teacher wouldn't let me go back in for it. She was like, "Oh, Stephen, you're 31 now. Come on."
Amy, what do you make of him running for re-election?
Well, sort of the same way as I felt when my friend Elliot passed his driving test on the 13th go. I know he's technically qualified, but he's still a danger to himself and everyone around him, isn't he? And his red button in his car just turned on the aircon. So, I think as nervous as everyone else. I also don't really get that mindset of, why doesn't he just have a little rest? To imagine, having the presidency he had and then going, round 2, I think, actually. That's like me dying a death in front of a sort of working men's club in Hull. And then, as I'm leaving the stage, being like, God, fingers crossed for an encore. Just go and cry in a local Premier Inn like a normal person,
He's one of the deluded comics that's going, I smashed that gig in Hull. He thinks he had a great time.
It's true.
But here's the big question. Do you think he's actually got a chance?
I mean, I only know a few Americans, and judging by them, yes.
Is there anything, much like Trump is trying to do this again, is there anything that you wish that you would like to be able to do again?
I can do this again, and I do. Watch Matt Hancock be bitten by a scorpion. Over and over again. It just keeps on giving.
Amy, how about you?
The late 90s. Trump was just the guy in a big coat from Home Alone. Home Alone was the answer you could give to the question, what did this 25-year-old buy and with whom? And TikTok was just something sarcastic that your mum said when she was trying to get you to leave the house. It was a better time.
Ignacio, what's something you would do again if you could?
I would like to redo my first time I ever played Edinburgh Fringe Festival because it was a bit of a disaster for me. The venue they put me in, first year I went up full of hope and wonder and excited, was the basement of a Mexican restaurant. Which, yeah, that's pretty racist, guys, to be honest. There was not... And if I had to do it again, I would have just worked upstairs in the restaurant because I would have made more money. So.
Yes, Donald Trump launching a third bid for the White House is the correct answer. Joe and Stephen, you get 2 points for that. Ignacio and Amy, what was the other story we were after?
Is it strikes with the NHS and trying to get more money for the NHS?
Yes, it's more bad news for the NHS. With industrial action planned for later this month, Scotland's largest health union has rejected the latest pay offer for staff, and the BMA have warned that Scotland's GPs are at tipping point. How bad do you think things are in the health service, Amy?
I mean, they're awful. It is like, you know, the term that gets thrown around a lot is it's at breaking point. They're trying to push remote appointments, aren't they? So, like, where you have to FaceTime or Skype or Zoom your doctor. One of the most important groups of people that need access to the NHS are sort of over 60s, over 65s. Have you tried to FaceTime an over 65? I'm aware this is risky business in this room, okay? You better hope your condition exists between your neck and your nose. My God.
During lockdown, I had to do a remote consultation with a fertility doctor, and because of autocorrect on the chat, it looked like he was saying I was important. Oh, wait, no, that's...
I felt my doctor was very rude to me recently, so that, you know, I'd like to complain about them now as well. Because I don't think doctors should go, oh, when you show them something. And I wasn't even that I'm sick. I have a bunion on my right foot, which means that I get corns. And I pre-warned her. I said, oh, it is quite a large bunion. And people always go a bit like, oh. And then I took my shoe off to show her, and she went, oh! And I'd warned her. And then, you know, get other people in and go, oh, you've never seen a bunion like this. You know, it's not the way things should be done.
Now, as bad as things are strikes the answer, Stephen?
I think they are. I think it's good. I support the workers. I'm actually going to take a leaf out their book and go on strike from breaking the news until they up my fee. I'm going to do that by not answering this question with a witty remark. And subsequently, if any of my other jokes don't land during this, it's because of industrial action.
We've seen a lot of sort of anti-strike chat in the last few years with like climate protesters and train strikes and all things like that. And I think when there's a power cut, you should blame the mains, not the bulbs, right? And every big change in history has happened through disruption. And I just feel like, you know, if nowadays the suffragettes were about and, you know, Emily Davison jumped in front of the King's horse, there'd be some guy on Twitter going, that horse could have sprained its ankle, actually. That's quite inconsiderate. We won't get to see the end of the race. You know, I think you've sort of got to be a little bit more considerate about where we're putting that anger and where we're putting, where we're prioritising people trying to do the right thing.
Wise words.
Thank
wow,
you.
Look at that. A rallying cry. Ignacio, do you have anything you would suggest to the NHS and the problems they're facing? What would be your solutions?
I think we should leave the EU. And give all of that money that we're wasting on Europeans, pump it into the NHS. I think that would solve...
People are obsessed with like medical dramas and embarrassing bodies and all that. Like, I think we could charge people to get into hospital just to spectate. I honestly think people would do it. I think it would make loads of money. And it wouldn't even sound out of place when you're saying that to your pal, you know. They'd be like, oh, I'm just going to the theatre this weekend. Like, oh, what are you going to see? Open heart surgery.
Events over the last few months have caused the NHS to update their procedures. For example, when establishing if a patient is suffering from concussion, doctors will no longer ask who the Prime Minister is. Well done, Ignacio and Amy. You get 2 points for that. It was the mashup of Donald Trump running for president and increasing pressure on the NHS. And at the end of that round, it's 2 points apiece. Much of our news is about public opinion, so this week, to find out what's got people talking, we've spoken to Scott Squad actor Sally Reid and writer and broadcaster Damien Barr. Ignacio and Amy, what story do you think Sally is on about here?
A perfect one of these for me would be getting in touch with someone I'd not seen in a long time, grabbing them and going somewhere not too far out. It would be a crisp autumn day, and then you could do it again the next day with someone else.
Is it going for walks?
Absolutely correct. Yes, it's the news that many of us are walking less, with a survey suggesting that fewer than 1 in 3 of us walk every day in winter, with 10% admitting they never go for a walk. A dog can be a good way to help you walk more. I should know. I lost $4,000 on one and had to sell my car.
I was walking quite a lot in lockdown. I got a dog during lockdown. A rescue dog. I got a retired police dog. She's like, used to kind of like out walking. I recommend it to anyone, by the way. Get a retired police dog. This dog has discovered drugs in my house I don't even remember buying.
Are you a big walker, Joe? Are you walking less, more?
Yeah, I do really like walking, and I did walk a lot in lockdown. It was a really weird time where it felt like always felt like I was in some sort of Jane Austen period drama, because the only activity was walking with another lady somewhere. And I remember going round to my friend Sally's to go for a walk, and it was like being a kid again, because I rang the doorbell, but because you weren't allowed in people's houses, so I stood back down from the door. Her husband answered. It was like being 9 years old going, is Sally coming out, please? She's 52 with mood swings.
What would motivate you to get out more in the winter months?
Just looking at my gas bill. Come on, babe, we're going to a Christmas market to get a heat.
Edinburgh Council have a great scheme to get you walking, which is they've basically dug up all of the roads. So there's no buses, there's no way of driving anywhere, so everyone is walking. So that works fantastically.
Well. Is there any other lockdown habits you've abandoned? Even if it wasn't walking, did you take up anything and then you've abandoned it?
I've stopped getting accidentally drunk every night. I think quite a lot of people locked down because we were pouring our own drinks.
Yeah.
And I don't realise what the size of a glass of wine is. And I only realised when they opened up pubs, and the first time when I saw them pour a glass of wine, I just started laughing. Like, oh my God, that is the tiniest glass of wine I've ever seen. Oh, that is what a glass of wine is. Oh, right.
What about you, Amy? Any other lockdown habits you've abandoned?
Well, it's quite hard to feel like it's not still lockdown in many ways because, everyone's petrified about economic stability. Nurses are being underappreciated. I'm buying things on Amazon in an attempt to fill an emotional void. And Matt Hancock is on TV every night. So it's quite close, isn't it?
Yes, it was the news that we are walking less and less. So much so that now the Proclaimers will only commit to going to the shops and back. The fact that we're walking less is the right answer, and 2 points go to Ignacio and Amy. Joe and Stephen, what do you think Damien is talking about here?
I think it's sad that we've lost this tradition of getting people together to share stories and wine and food. And it's, of course, only fun if you can afford to do it, and ideally if you've got a dishwasher as well.
I think it's the death of dinner parties. People are not having them.
Yeah, the traditional dinner party is dead. At least that's according to new research that suggests the majority of people prefer something more informal and consider the term old-fashioned. Are you a fan of dinner parties, Joe?
No, I feel they're like weddings but worse. Last time I went to a dinner party, like I knew the host, I didn't know the other people. And this woman, she was playing that fantasy dinner party game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they go, if you could invite anyone alive or dead. And so she kind of picked on me and she went, Joe, because she had that sort of voice because she'd never had a job, right? Joe, if you were having a dinner party, who would you invite? So I said, right, I've actually thought about that before. I would invite David Attenborough, Debbie Harry, and Billy Connolly. Thinking, that's a good night. She goes, oh, really? I'd invite 3 homeless people. Oh, my God.
People do have this fantasy game, don't they, where it's like, oh, who would you invite? It's always the same 4 or 5 people, isn't it? And, like, the reality of that would always be horrible. Like, imagine sitting at a table while Stephen Fry talks about the amazing things he's done, and, I don't know, Barack Obama talks about the amazing things he's done, and Malala talks about the amazing things she's done. And you've got to sit there and be like, so did anyone see Eileen from Corrie last night on I'm a Celeb? It would be awful. It would be terrible for everyone's self-esteem.
Stephen, are you a fan of dinner parties?
I'm a fan of dinner and I'm a fan of parties. I'm not a fan of dinner parties. Just something about it when you put the two together. There's loads of stuff like that. Like I love babies, love sitting. Don't ask me to babysit. Love steaks, love gammon, hate Piers Morgan.
Ignacio, maybe you're the one here. Are you a fan of dinner parties?
I like dinner parties a lot. I think, a big fan of food, and I like putting them on and cooking and making a nice spread. The problem is, if you end up like having mundane conversations or people's eating habits and the different food requirements everyone has now makes it really difficult. I went to a vegan dinner party once, and the conversation switched to like, what does everyone miss the most? What does everyone miss the most? People are like, oh, I miss cheese, I miss bacon. And it got to me, and I just said, my mother who left when I was 5.
Have you experienced a terrible dinner party? What's your worst one?
The worst one for me is like the first time I went to a dinner party in the UK, and things are very different. People eat a lot earlier in the UK. So like typically we'll start eating maybe like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. in Spain. So the worst one for me was the first dinner party I ever had in the UK, where I rocked up at 10 p.m. Everyone's wrapping up, putting their coats on and leaving. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Stephen, what's your worst dinner party experience?
I threw a dinner party and it was going really well and everyone was having a great time, but the person that I wanted to be there the most didn't show up till 10 o'clock.
The news that the traditional dinner party is dead is the right answer, and 2 points go to Joe and Stephen. You're tuned to Breaking the News on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Chris Forbes. This round is all about who is in the news. I'll play you a clip of a mystery person, and all you have to do is tell me who it is. Joe and Stephen, you're first this time. Who is this?
I think a lot of people like to see us holding hands and smiling all the time. It's not something we just do in front of the cameras. We like that at home. We sit together, we hold hands. We are very romantic together, and it's always been like that.
David Beckham.
Yes, it's David Beckham, who has been heavily criticised for his role as ambassador for the Qatar World Cup that kicks off on Sunday. It's entirely possible when he signed up to promote Qatar, he thought he was selling strepsils. What do you make of David Beckham's role at the World Cup, Stephen Buchanan?
I think it's poor form. Personally, I won't be watching my country play this year. Just a personal choice. I've not actually really taken an interest in football since I was quite young, like 14. I went to an Old Firm game and my mum was quite worried about it, so she was like, Stephen, if anyone asks you who you support, just say, I support my legs and my legs support me. And I actually said that to a football casual and I went home in crutches.
What about you, Joe? What do you make of David Beckham's role at the World Cup?
Well, it's awful because I'm a David Beckham fan in that he was a beautiful footballer, and I'd always sort of liked him and things he'd done. I even like I've always liked that. He's got a tattoo on the back of his neck, and I always quite like that because I always thought I'd like my husband to get one of those because, well, I don't think it looks good, but I think it looks painful.
Ignacio, what do you make of David Beckham's role at the World Cup?
I think that the Qataris hiring him to do the World Cup in Qatar is just a way to get David out walking during the winter months.
Amy, will boycotting the World Cup make any difference?
Definitely, because money talks, doesn't it? It seems to be the only thing that talks in this World Cup. And I think in lieu of being able to fully boycott it, there should be some kind of gestures when we're over there. Because the defence that a lot of people working around it are giving is that, we can't speak up for it without being there. Yes, you can. But lots of people are going over and they were like, we'll make a statement whilst we're there. So maybe, I don't know, Harry Kane should come out dressed as Elton John or Jack Grealish in a sort of Sandy Toksvig cosplay. That would be nice, sort of do some protesting.
Joe, boycotting the World Cup, will it make any difference?
I find it very hard not to watch. I love the World Cup, and also my team is in, which is Wales. I will find it, I know because people all think I'm English, but I was born in Wales and I grew up in England. My mum and dad are Irish and I live in Scotland. So sort of in football terms, it's confusing. So in football terms, actually the one team I couldn't qualify to play for is Scotland, although I think that's the one team I could walk right into.
While shopping in Qatar, David Beckham bought a sheet of sandpaper, thinking it was a map of the desert. Yes, 2 points to Joe and Stephen. That was Qatar World Cup ambassador David Beckham. OK, Ignacio and Amy, now it's your turn. Who is this and why are they in the news?
Leadership matters. The voices at the top matter. If we continue to be susceptible to voices that want to lead by fear and division, we will follow suit. That's why government matters, democracy matters, voting matters.
I think that is the wonderful woman that is Michelle Obama.
That is absolutely right. It's former First Lady Michelle Obama. She has a new book out that reveals, amongst other things, that she recently taught herself how to knit and that she's self-conscious about her height. We've got the same problem with Scotland's premier power couple, although some would say that the height issues are what make the crankies. Is it comforting to find out she's an ordinary person?
I don't think she's an ordinary person. I certainly can't relate to anything that she's done. Like in her book, I've got a wee extract here that I'm going to read for you. It's a direct quote. She's put, "The year is 2002. The place is Loch Goylehead. I've just broken my VL, brackets virgin lips, in a tent in front of all of my classmates. The person who took said VL has just criticised my winching technique in front of everyone by saying that I kiss like a salmon. Subsequently, I've not eaten fish since." I mean, how can I relate to that? You know what I mean? I broke my VL at Loch Lomond.
She says she's self-conscious about her height. OK, what are you self-conscious about?
I don't have any cartilage in my nose. Yeah, I know, it's very strange. And it's like God forgot. Like, it's, when you finish building like an IKEA wardrobe and there's like one nail that didn't fit anywhere but it's still standing and it looks all right. I think that's what happened with me.
Is that an Essex thing? That's you and Danielle Westbrook, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm also self-conscious about my height because I'm 6'1", but I'm the shortest male member of my family. Like all of my family in Spain, 6'5", 6'4", all basketball players, and I'm the shortest. I'm the runt of the pack. But then when I moved to Wales, I knock my head on everything. Because, Tolkien-based dwarves on Wales, so...
I've similar issue. I'm tall as well. I'm 6'2" as well. I was.
All right, mate. Let it out.
I was this tall when I was in primary 7. And so no one wanted to play with me because they thought I was the janitor.
Well, I'm tall, and it doesn't bother me. I see it as an asset.
Yes.
To be tall, and you can see further, see more things. Only annoying thing is, I have this all the time in the supermarket, people ask you to get you things. And I don't really mind, except how you do it matters, doesn't it? Like, I had a woman the other day in Tesco's, and she didn't ask me, she just poked me. So I looked down to see what it was, and there she was. And again, she didn't ask me, she just went, "Get that, will you? Just get that." And do you know what? I thought, no. I thought, I've had enough of short people. You don't try, do you?
Now, Michelle Obama, she taught herself how to knit recently. What have you taught yourself how to do?
I had taught myself how to play the guitar when I was a teenager, in Spain, because I thought it would be a good way, to attract women. Then I moved to the UK, and it turns out you just need a Spanish accent and some chips.
Of course, Michelle Obama is the right answer. 2 points go to Ignacio and Amy. Time now for our final quickfire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I'll read out a headline, and all the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. Get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
And that's without mentioning the flying tomatoes.
Angela Rayner there, talking about the shocking state of the Westminster meal deal. OK, let's go. 2/3 of people think that what should be compulsory? Joe?
Is it learning fractions?
Yes. 2/3 of people think that what should be compulsory? Amy?
MPs should do a stint in the jungle before getting elected.
2/3 of people think that what should be compulsory? Stephen?
Getting a wee Lotus biscuit when you order a coffee.
2/3 of people think that school uniforms should be compulsory.
And that's without mentioning the flying tomatoes.
That's the klaxon. Angela has Reynard. It's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Ignacio Lopez and Amy Matthews. Commiserations to Joe Caulfield and Stephen Buchanan. And we'll leave you with the breaking news just in. A slice of cake from the wedding of Charles and Camilla 17 years ago is up for auction in Norfolk. The incredibly old but rich fruitcake said he'll give any money raised to charity. Sexually transmitted infections are on the rise among the over 65s in England. A government spokesperson admitted they probably went a bit too far on the advice they gave on staying warm this winter. And Lewis Capaldi's Someone You Loved has become the UK's most streamed song of all time, overtaking Ed Sheeran's Shape of You. Someone You Loved was, of course, written about Lewis Capaldi's grandmother. What's weirder is, so was Shape of You. The news is broken. I've been Chris Forbes. Goodbye!